How to Talk to Anyone at the moment. So it's 93 language and body language tips to make you a better communicator. So I've found in my own life, podcast environment. So the best example of it, actually, I'll come back to that. Podcast environment, presenting on fitness, being in the gym, running a fucking powerlifting event, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
my heart rate doesn't change.
Yep.
Stepping up in front of a room of people anymore if it's about fitness.
Yeah.
I had to open up for it was like a naming day with family and friends, not about fitness. My voice was shaky and shit. I was like, what the fuck is this? My wedding? Like, they're like, you public speak all the time, like not to my friends.
Yeah.
I even had someone message me because obviously we had the reel came up last week about like basically me crying on the internet. And I had a friend message me like, oh, I've tried to reply to this so many times. I didn't know what to say. So it's just sent like love hearts. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I honestly just forget that my real world friends see my internet stuff. She's like, yeah, it was really sweet. She's like, you can talk to your real world friends as well.
Yeah.
But it's just it's a weird sort of dynamic. If I go into a room that I'm not
an authority,
my perception is that I'm not the guy.
Yeah.
I'm happy just to fade into the corner. And I behave differently.
Very
I stand
interesting, because that's like very ego related as well, if we want to look at it from that. So like when you're not, very interesting.
Yeah.
I am more nervous. Then again, like public speaking is not something that I've done a lot again until recently. Long time in between workshops and things like that. But getting up in front of people to deliver content versus delivering conversational things.
Yeah.
I can talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And I can have a conversation with a room like it's nothing. Like introductions are the easiest thing at the start of like these events and whatnot. Like more than happy to walk up there and be like, hey guys, I am so nervous and I drank so much coffee. I might shit myself in front of all of you. But hey, I'm Jess. And like I'm okay to do that. But then when it's delivering information and I know so many people are the same and I'm the same on the internet, I'm like, what are people going to think of me?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be the authority on this, and what if someone's going to say something to me that they're second guessing what I'm saying, and even though if I know to my core and believe in what I'm saying, I get nervous about that. So it's very interesting. That's exact opposite. Whereas with my friends, I don't care. Or if people in a conversational introducing myself to anyone, I don't care because I'm Jess and I'm infallibly Jess. Like I can't be anyone else. So it's easy. Yeah. Strange.
Yeah, I'm the same. I just don't take I take a huge step back in the room, which is, it's really interesting. So this book is a great example of it. There's 93 tips. I got 3 in and I was like, I have to, this is like, I was so enthralled by it. Yeah. Like, fuck, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. What's the next one? And I was like, you have to stop.
Apply them.
I stopped at 3 and I'm like, go to the fucking cafe and do all 3 of these.
Yeah.
And
what's one of them?
So there's one's called, they all got stupid names, so they stick in your head.
Yeah.
One of them's called Sticky Eyes.
Yep.
So with male to female, female to female, excessive eye contact is good.
I noticed that you've made so much eye contact this podcast because I'm an eye contact person. I was like, I'm eye contact.
I actually am not.
Yeah. That's why I noticed.
Almost like autistic Heidi sort of like, I don't know why. Yeah. So there's that, but female to female and female to female, male to male move more often because it can be threatening. So that was interesting. So instead, we went to coffee yesterday. And I've told Amy about it, and the waitress wouldn't look at me. I was like, she won't fucking make eye. I can't practice if you won't look at me. Like, fuck. And then the next one is holding. So there's 2 versions of that. So it's kind of like 2 into 1. Then, what's the other one? Holding your smile. Yeah. So if you can get eye contact, don't smile instantly. Hold it and then smile. Because otherwise, when you smile at everyone straight away and you lead with a smile, it can look nervous or like it's just a throwaway. You just smile at everyone.
Interesting.
Whereas if you hold, then smile, They're like,
it's for
"Oh."
them.
Yeah. So I've been trying that.
Interesting.
Yeah. I haven't got the smile one because no one will hold eye contact.
That's so interesting. I'm just a smiler.
Yeah. Well, I am too because I'm conscious in certain environments that I'm the meathead guy.
Yeah.
So I'm the guy that's like overly polite at the cafe because I know what I look like. And I think even spending time living in Essendon, and I was still way rougher, like basketball singlets, high socks and J's.
Right.
And a flat peak hat going into a cafe with like the Lululemon people. Be like, hey,
Pilates girlies, your new crew.
Yeah. Like, oh, thank you. And like exaggerating the holding the door open, please and thank you. Change, like pulling my pitch up really high. So I'm like, I'm not threatening. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because I would literally have people cross the road when I was living there.
Well, I've seen this reel of like things I say as like a feminist male when I walk past women in the street.
Yeah.
And it's like all shit like that. It's like, I'm not going to hurt you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wear pink at home.
Yeah.
And just like all this shit. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like the level of body language you have to change to be less threatening.
Yeah. And I saw one the other day. It was like coughing when you're walking behind someone so they don't get scared. I do it all the time. Kick the floor or cough or just like make a noise. Like, hey.
100%.
Yeah. I heard
that was normal.
I heard Shallow talk about it. He followed this car for like a kilometer to the apartments, got out of the car at the same time, and then just were heading in the same direction.
Yeah.
And he saw her grab her keys, and he was just like, I live in 181B.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not following you. It's okay. It's like, he's fucking twice the size of me and tattered and bearded and terrifying.
Oh my God.
So it's just like, I see Jace do it too.
Yeah.
You might not have even seen that size of Jace yet because he just does work, Jason. When Jace sees Amy, I'm like, who the fuck are you? Because it's just like higher octave, body language changes.
Interesting.
It's like, oh, hey, how are you? Kiss on the cheek. I'm like, who's this guy? I remember we did pinches one day. He did mine. It was just like body fat pinches. He's like, shirt off, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Turned to do Amy's. He's like, all right, so I need you to take your shirt off. I just need to get to here. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So just like, I was like, fuck, okay.
Yeah.
So you do have that button.
Oh, I reckon the only time I've seen that, oh my God, Jason, we're talking about like you, like you're not here. That,
in loving memory.
Yeah.
just reminiscing about the times we hung out with him.
We all miss him.
Yeah.
No, so like I've had a few training sessions with you. Oh no, I've only actually had a couple of training sessions with you really.
Yeah.
The one at Doherty's was like Jace was mainly with his clients and things like that. And obviously I'm with my coach. So
yeah.
But whereas like the last training session we did, I benched and you were there for my bench, and then it was like I was just broing out.
Yeah.
And I was like to Jason, like help me out with these and whatever. Mm-hmm. And just like how differently, and when we got the content back from it as well, I could see it. I'm like, he was so not that you're not nice, Jason, but he was just so nice. Gentle. And like you just don't care, like as a woman that can get really highly strung when males come too close in my space.
Yeah.
Unless I'm like hugging them. I'm like just so comfortable, so gentle to like just to be like, move here, do this, but like gently.
Yeah.
And so only kind of have seen that. But yeah, very interesting.
So it's an interesting, I guess, thing to, we all play different roles in different rooms.
Oh, for sure.
So, and then like, obviously, coming back to training, how you show up with different clients will always be a little bit different. How you communicate will be a little bit different. And that's a real skill to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're a personal trainer who's having trouble building relationships, connections with your clients, I'd probably recommend the book because I think you'll learn a lot in even just consult time.
Yeah.
Because people will go like, oh, I haven't changed anything, but I'm missing all my sales. It's like what you say probably hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Your eye contact, your posture, your tone, all of those things
100%
have probably, and you can hear it on the phone. It's not just like in person that this stuff's changing. Hear it on the phone as well.
You can hear smiles. You are mindful, like your aware of when somebody is having a conversation with themselves with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's like a very personal trainer thing to do. And I know on the days where I couldn't be bothered, you'd get bored of yourself because you're like, how was your weekend?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
It's boring.
That's 12.
And like consults is very much the same. Like it can be super intimidating to get vulnerable with people, but I think it's part of a reason I'm good at my job with like mentoring, and I think I'm quite good at sales, like when it comes to clients, because at the end of the day, I just want to get to know you on a deeper level, and I'm willing to be vulnerable, and matching people's energy and doing things like that is very, very important in the job. But it's probably also a reason why at times, I think, especially with you and Jason, and you do talk about it a lot, like losing touch with what it was like to be a new PT again. Yeah. One big thing that I'm working on now with them is managing their energy because of how exhausting it is to have 30-something sessions and 18 different clients.
Yeah, especially if you're a bit introverted.
Totally. Or you're new, you don't have a lot of life experience and it's one of your first jobs.
Yeah, I hate labels, but I think, and I would hate for anyone to hear that and be like, oh, I'm an introvert, that's why I'm exhausted. It's like, no. I was too.
Yeah.
I still do 50 sessions a week. Like,
I'm an extrovert and it exhausted me.
So it's that growth mindset thing. Like, you can develop that as a skill. But definitely energy management. Like, we've talked about, like, people get into like 25 sessions, like, oh, I'm so exhausted. It's like, you still got 15 in the tank.
Yeah.
Like, it's just learning how to communicate, how to engage, how to switch off, how to pull in and out. And it's trainable. It's like exercise. Like, you build tolerance.
Like even like looking at it from like a service perspective. So we know people in Standout PT that are like, I am trying to transition to a hybrid model. So I have slowly removed all my evening sessions.
Yeah.
And you can best show up for your clients because you can be present and you can be there.
Yeah.
If you're somebody that's like, your client can only train on a Sunday, so you're now working on a Sunday because your client can only do that. Like, these are boundaries and things you have to learn about yourself. So I know for myself, when I was coaching, it was like max, like 2.5 hours at a time.
Interesting. Yeah.
So if I did more than that, I would begin to look at the clock.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be present with that person, and I would get sick of hearing the same conversations and knowing that I was initiating those same conversations.
Yeah.
So, but that was what worked for me.
Yeah.
For a long time, I was like, fuck yeah, let's just smash out 6 hours in a row and be done. I wasn't giving my best service when I was doing that. And that's something that took a lot of reflection as well.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're getting to a point where you are tired, just know that even if you think it's not, your clients can tell.
Yeah.
And they may not notice it straight up, but it will reflect in your service as well. So personally, for me, I know that I was getting stretched a little bit thin because when I was spending time with my son, I was thinking about the person that I had to contact, or the message I had to reply to, or the post I had to do, and it would reflect in either getting things done too fast just to tick it off, or in me not being present with him.
Yeah.
And that, things had to change, and now like daycare has come into play, and I've had to change my schedule so I can give 100% to those small things.
Yeah.
With the mentees, it's like, oh yeah, I prefer when I have a night off a week because I've got something to look forward to, because I love my job, but I need to have, that night. Great. You have your Wednesday nights off. And you make the other nights a little bit busier so that you can have that, if it means that when Thursday comes around, you're not a fucking zombie.
Yeah.
Working with Ben, who is a brand new PT, and being like, he has Saturdays off and he works Sundays.
Yep.
And that works for him because his clients can do Sundays, but he's like, I draw the line here.
Yep. And
it's like, great. As long as you've got those boundaries that you can show up and still be excited and not drag your feet. And it shows in retention, and it shows in all of these things. Like, there's so much feedback around you outside of feedback forms with your client that are telling you if you're supplying a premium service.
Yeah. And feedback you're giving them as well.
Yeah.
It's what stopped me from partying.
Yep.
I did a 12-week challenge, and I was like, I'm just not going to drink for 12 weeks and see what happens. And I was like, oh, I could do another 10 sessions a week now.
Yep.
Because I'm not hungover till Wednesday.
Yep.
Like, okay, this is a thing. And that was it for me. It was like, okay, this is way more important than that. So that solved that whole problem. So, yeah, really useful. So go read the book, become aware of how you're managing your energy, how you're managing those sessions. I was more like the 4-hour blocks.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to Amy about it last night. So she does mindset coaching.
Yep.
Super heavy, one-on-one, hour sessions, often back-to-back. And she'll say, like, for the second one, she was saying, like, last night, she's like, I was like, fuck, this is going to be hell. She goes, within 2 minutes, you just, like, kicked into... I don't like using the term performing, but it is.
Oh,
and you should almost consider your session, so this is tying into service now, is a performance. You're performing for your client. You're there for them. And I remember, like, having a gap, going into the PT room, fluoro lights, sitting down. You walk out and you're like, what fucking day is it? Where am I?
Yeah.
And who are you? What did we do yesterday?
Yeah.
And then within 30 seconds of that, like, initial part of the session, it's like, right, okay, I'm here. Let's go. Get to the car. It's like, music off, drive home, don't speak to me until I've eaten.
Yeah.
An hour later, I become a person again. Like, there's ebbs and flows of that. You've just got to be conscious of when you start bouncing back.
Yeah, and I don't think it's insulting at all to say that there is a performative aspect to face-to-face coaching, because your clients don't deserve the you that you feel on the day. They deserve the service that they're paying for.
Yeah.
And you do need to show up, and that can be exhausting for you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Always, like, you are a human, so you can tell them that you're not feeling it. But at the end of the day, something that will always stick with me is a client is one part of your day and you're the highlight of their day.
Yeah.
So you need to really hold yourself to that standard of, they're only seeing you once or twice a week. Think of how many, there's 164 hours in a week. You are such a blip on their radar, whereas they are work to you.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that they walk away feeling better than
I remember having
they got there.
so many clients that came to me who were just like, oh, yeah, my last personal trainer just talked about themselves all the time.
Yeah.
They were going through X, Y, Z. And it was almost like, you know, when you go to the hairdresser and it's like they tell you the drama. It's like, how many times have you told this drama story this week?
Yeah.
Like, fuck, isn't that exhausting?
Yeah.
And yeah, like, the personal trainers have a tendency to be the same. So I think that awareness of the performative aspects is really important.